Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Rachel Williams begins now.
Dark Mofo's early program is continuing through the long weekend. A revered junkyard artist has been busy making special pieces for the festival, while a haunting exhibition took over an historic house.
Visitors are being beckoned into the historic Narina house in Battery Point. Inside darkened rooms with dozens of bottled faces staring out for an installation titled If They Should Accidentally Fall.
There's 80 bottles hanging around the walls, and each one of those has a speaker that hangs down and has just a very sort of a micro story about a fall, I suppose.
I would go and have a platter because they gave you a free drink and a cheap lunch, but in the end it cost too much.
The Tasmanian artist was inspired by the nursery rhyme 10 Green Bottles. These human bottles represent fragility and spill short confessionals.
The linking theme is the fall, so it's that, perhaps that moment where you realise you've done something you shouldn't have done, or you're slightly ashamed of something you've done.
At Dark Mofo, new pieces of art are being created.
A lot of people don't know the beauty.
Revered junkyard artist Lonnie Holly is currently artist in residence at the new venue Altar. He's fashioning sculptures from objects he's found in Hobart.
But found objects mostly have a story, and you can easily put those stories together and you can weave them in.
When finished with his visual art, he'll share his musical creations in a performance on Wednesday. Michael Breen, 7 Tasmania News.
There's a push for a memorial in Tasmania marking the stolen generation. A documentary was shown at the Hobart Town Hall today, including the story of Deborah Hocking, one of thousands of Aboriginal people who, as a child, was separated from her family. She's now calling for a permanent installation.
Well, hopefully it will be a place that they can go and know that they're acknowledged and respected, and perhaps even may start their own healing.
Proceeds from today's screening of Risking Light is going towards the memorial plans. There you go. A local footy legend has reached a milestone we may never see the likes of again. Yolla's Scott Whiteroad has played a whopping 500 games in his local league, but he now says it's time to hang up the boots.
Tucked away in Tasmania's northwest, the town of Yolla lives and breathes football. It's a team which wears its heart on its sleeve, with a storied past of premierships in the rugged Darwin Football Association. And its spiritual leader is 51-year-old Scott Whiteroad, Flounder as he's known. He's done this same pre-game routine more than 500 times.
And we'll run over the top of these blokes.
After 36 years, I still get nervous because, you never know, it could be your last game, and you don't know what's going to happen when you get in the field. I've never been any world beater. I just love playing the game, and that's what it's been all about.
It's a magnificent tally built over 36 seasons, enough time to have seen footy's wild side.
Years ago in the grand final, there's Somerset played Yolla in the grand final, and they, in them days you could sort of do anything out there. They pulled the chairs out of the coach's box and build them with each other. But that was the good old days. But they've cleaned the game up, and it's probably all for the better.
Some of Flounder's teammates at Yolla aren't even old enough to drive, and although he might not be able to keep up with them all, experience counts for something. Deft at hand and with old-fashioned foot skills, Flounder rarely flounders in front of goal. His beloved Demons often struggle for numbers week by week, but those who do play look to him.
There's a point in it, right? So we're just going to lift that tempo a little bit more this quarter. Let's go, boys. Come on.
But all good things must come to an end, even for Flounder. He says this year will be his last. Maybe.
I've been telling the wife for about 5 years I'm going to give it up, but I reckon this will be it. I still enjoy playing the game, but sometimes in your life you've got to say enough's enough.
Time will tell if that white line fever will draw him back again. Tom Johnson, 7 Tasmania News.
Sorell was alive with the sounds of over 100 truck engines today. The South East Suns Women's Footy Club hosting its annual truck and car show to raise funds for its growing football program.
All revved up with somewhere to go. The convoy left Glenorchy this morning raising funds for Give Me Five for Kids. They headed for Sorell for the South East Suns Truck Show.
It's good to come and see the trucks that are out on the road every day, the ones that we pass on the road, so it's a lot of stuff for people to look at, which is great.
Over 100 vehicles were on display, ranging from modern giants to those that pioneered the industry. The family-friendly event attracting young and old.
There's a big change between the old truck, even on the back of this truck, and the modern truck that's towing it.
I like the actual Hulk one over there.
Each owner has a unique story to tell about their machine. Carl Wagner bought this 30-year-old Mack truck to restore with his dad. It was completed just days before his father passed away last year.
I've never seen a grown man cry until that point, yeah. Yeah, he got to drive it 4 days before he passed.
Funds raised support the South East Suns women's footy program, which is continuing to expand.
We've gone from one senior team to having one senior team and 3 junior teams this year.
It's a great opportunity to have all these people here who are willing to help out to fundraise.
John Hunt, 7 Tasmania News.
The original diary penned by one of the state's earliest surveyors is among the items at this year's Tasmanian Antiques Fair. The diary of James Scott, who founded Scottsdale, had been passed down within his family for generations. The record provides some of the earliest known details about Tasmania during the 1830s.
It is very important because it might also allow us to learn items of plant life, weather patterns, sunrises, sunsets, which is recorded, and basically also all the surveys that he did in the area.
Around 3,000 people have visited this year's edition, which continues tomorrow at Launceston's Albert Hall. The fair has run for more than 20 years. A Hobart Park is a little more warm and colourful heading into the depths of winter. Franklin Square has been transformed by a mass yarn bombing. Brightly knitted cosies have suddenly appeared on dozens of trees and posts. But as well as the winter decorations, knitted hats and scarves have been placed on a bench to help homeless people.
Tasmania's under-25 side has comfortably beaten Victoria Metro at UTAS Stadium. But it was a tough day for the Tasmania Devils in the NAB League, going down by 38 points to the Murray Bushrangers. Ethan Jackson soared for the Devils in the NAB League, but he couldn't quite clutch the prize. It was a story which lingered throughout the game as the Devils felt the Murray Bushrangers' defensive pressure. One early highlight was debutant Lachlan Borsboom channeling his inner Eddie Betts with a fine conversion from no man's land. But trailing 5-1 in the opening stanza, the Devils turned to the physical side of things. That continued in the next term, but Will Harper came off second best. It wasn't until midway through the third when Will Pepin added another major to the tally, but the Bushrangers were the best team on the day, winning by 36 points. It was better news later on at UTAS Stadium, with Tasmania's under-25 representative team soundly defeating Victoria Metro by 5 goals. Meanwhile, the Southern Huskies have gone down by just 2 points to the Canterbury Rams in the New Zealand NBL. It's a sharp turnaround from the 16-point thrashing at the Deck on Thursday night. Trey Nichols top scored with 22 points. A huge result in State League netball, with Cavaliers enduring their first loss of the season. The round 12 clash saw an inspired Arrows upset the reigning champion 62-50 with Hayley Sansom player of the match. Also today, Sarah Scott led Kingston to a huge 77-33 point win over Devon, while Northern Hawks beat Cripps 71-42. In the NPL, Olympia has edged closer to the top of the table thanks to a huge 6-0 win over the battling Clarence. Jack Ryan, Joffrey Knosco and Nick Means scored 2 each. Elsewhere, Kingborough broke through in the 55th minute to down Riverside 1-0, while Mackenzie Hancock finished cleanly for Launceston City, helping his side to a 1-0 win over Glenorchy Knights. In the State League table tennis final, Glenorchy-based Northern Suburbs has come out on top after beating Southern Suburbs at the Launceston Country Club. Daniel Huxtable was the leading player. And after winning her heat this morning, Tasmanian-born Ariane Titmus has claimed victory in the 400 metres freestyle final at the World Swimming Trials in Brisbane.
We've seen cloudy conditions today with maximum temperatures a few degrees above average. Hobart warmed up to a top of 13 degrees. It was 15 in Launceston and Burnie, Devonport 14. 17 was the state's high recorded at King Island and Friendly Beaches. Flinders Island, Smithton and Strawn all reached 16, Low Head and St Helens 15, Maria Island 14, Lyowini 9, Ouse and the Hearts Mountains both 8 degrees. High cloud moved over the state today with some lower level cloud about the north. On the bigger picture, a band of high cloud stretching from northwest WA to western Victoria and some mid to low level cloud extending along the east coast of the mainland. Moving ahead to tomorrow now, and the chart shows a cold front crossing Tasmania and Victoria through the day, with a trough extending to northwest WA. On the waters, northeast to northwesterly winds increasing to over 30 knots about the north in the morning and up to 40 knots about the south in the evening. And with those winds, I've got a few things to warn you about. There's a gale warning for northern and eastern coastal waters between Sandy Cape and St Helens Point, and for southern waters between Tasman Island and Low Rocky Point. A strong wind warning is in place for the remainder of the coast. There's a small craft wind alert for the lakes and a warning for sheep graziers in the north of the state. It'll be a rainy Queen's birthday tomorrow, Hobart with a top of 13, Dover and Ouse both 12, Launceston and Devonport both with possible heavy falls and tops of 14, Scottsdale 13, Burnie a top of 14, Strawn 13, Stanley 15, strong winds expected at St Helens 14, Swansea 15, Ross 13. Taking a look ahead to Tuesday now, with showers expected about the west, far south and north of the state, but remaining fine elsewhere. Wednesday, rain developing in the north and west before extending statewide in the afternoon. And Thursday, more showers about the west, far south and north of the state, extending into central areas later in the day. Looking further north tomorrow, with a possible storm in Perth, Sydney and Brisbane both looking mostly sunny, and early showers expected for Adelaide and Melbourne, both clearing for a sunny afternoon. And finally, let's take a look at the current conditions in the major cities. Rach, it looks like we've got a few wet days ahead.
It does indeed. Thank you so much for that, Britt. Well, that's all your news for now. Thanks for joining us. Have a great week. Good night.